Hello from London. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. I also wrote a book full of crazy, true travel stories of things that have happened to me called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's available on Amazon now. And in this sort of one-off video from this trip to London, I want to show you how easy and affordable, I guess especially affordable it is to just take the tube, the underground, the subway train system from Heathrow Airport into the city. All right, if you're flying into London Heathrow and you want to get into the city, you have a couple of options. I think one of the most popular or the most advertised option is to take the Heathrow Express. That is also a train service that runs from the airport terminals into almost the heart of London. It stops at Paddington Station. So if you look at the map of the London Underground or the London train system here, this is where Paddington Station is. And down here is where sort of the West End is, which I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people who are here as tourists, would consider like the place to be. You've got Piccadilly Circus, you've got Leicester Square, you've got Covent Garden. The London Eye is over on the other side of the river. There's Tower of London, Tower Bridge. It's all in this area. So if you take the Heathrow Express into London, like I said, it's only going to take you to Paddington, and from there, you're going to have to get in a taxi to get to your hotel or get into the tube anyways. One advantage of taking the Heathrow Express is it's really fast compared to the other options. The price of the Heathrow Express, however, is currently this much. And if you ask me, that's not really cheap. And so you have to ask yourself if you're willing to pay that price to save maybe about half an hour of travel time getting into the city, depending on how close your hotel is to Paddington Station. I prefer to take the tube, and there's two reasons. Most likely, your hotel is gonna be much closer to the stops that are on the Piccadilly Line than it's gonna be to Paddington Station, especially if you're here to see musicals and stuff like that. And it costs about 18 pounds less. And for me, I don't mind sitting in the train a little bit longer if it means I'm gonna save that money and not have to transfer with all my bags or not have to transfer to a taxi with all my bags. So since I'm in the city now and we'll be going to the airport, I'm gonna show you how to do that. And when we get to the airport, I'll show you kind of how to do it the other way around. This is Piccadilly Circus. You can see there's the famous statue of Eros over there. This is a big roundabout, a big intersection, and here is one of the entrances to the Piccadilly Circus underground public subway and tube stop. These are one of the two sets of stairs you're gonna have to carry your bags down. There are escalators in between, but you're gonna have to be able to carry your bags down at least this many stairs, and the stairway that's at the bottom of the station after the two escalators is about half of this. So you're just gonna need to be ready for that and ask yourself if this is gonna be doable for you as far as just carrying the bags. I actually ended up going over to the Tottenham Court Road station when it was time to go, so some of these recordings are from the Piccadilly Circus station and some are from the Tottenham Court Road station. Paying for a tube ticket has become so easy compared to when I first started visiting London. You just need to scan your contactless payment on the turnstile, and when it opens, you just walk right through. There's no need to stand at the ticket window or the ticket machines. Just scan your credit card and you're in. Don't be surprised, but you'll have to scan it again when you leave the tube station at your destination, and that's how they know how far you went and how much to charge. The two tube lines that go to and from Heathrow are the Piccadilly Line and the Elizabeth Line. The Piccadilly Line has a dark blue color on the map and stops at all those stops I listed directly in the West End area. However, the trains and the stations are a little older and will probably have some stairs. The Elizabeth Line is newer, and most of the stations have escalators and elevators and no stairs, but it does not stop directly in the heart of the West End. It will get you very close though. And if you're wondering how to find which line, when you look at the tube map, you can see All the different lines have a different color scheme. It's just like the children's game Candyland. When you look for the stop you want to go to, figure out what color train stops there, and then when you get into the station, you follow the signs to that line. The other important thing is the direction of the train. Because the trains go all over the place and not just north, south, east, and west, you need to know which end station is in the direction you want to be going, and then follow the signs to that platform. When you're going to the airport, it's really easy because there are only the 2 tube options. When you get down to the bottom, if you're in a station that has more than one line servicing it, it's just like playing Candyland. You just look for the color or the name of the line and follow the arrows. You can see here is I think it's black Northern Line, and over here is the purple Elizabeth Line. And I know the Elizabeth Line goes to Heathrow, so that's where we're going. You can see it's light down here. There are normal people. It's not scary and dark and creepy like people who maybe have never taken public transportation. I think if you look at how it's depicted in movies, especially movies that take place in New York, it's always like really scary, but this is not scary. As you get closer to the platforms, they have these signs, and you can see it's pointing to the westbound Elizabeth Line, and the stop where you are is always highlighted or darkened, and then every stop in the direction you're going is listed after that. You can see the Elizabeth Line splits at Hayes and Harlington, and one end of it goes to the airport and the other end goes to all of those stops. So you just need to get in one that you're sure is going to the airport. Sign here says the next train is going to Heathrow Terminal 5, and you might think, oh well, shoot, my flight leaves from Terminal 2, I have to wait for a different one. But remember, Terminal 5 is at the end, so it's going to stop at all the terminals before Terminal 5, meaning for me, Terminal 2, that's also the right train. The train is approaching now, and I can give you 2 tips if you want to not get in people's way and not seem like a tourist. One of them is when the train arrives, make sure you move to the side and let people off before you try to get in. And then when you get into the train, don't just step in the train and stop. Walk in and then continue walking into the train so there's room for other people. We have just arrived at Heathrow. This is the Elizabeth Line station, and you can see very clearly marked where you have to go, and I'm just following the signs. It's not dark, I'm not alone, I don't feel unsafe or uneasy. It just feels like a normal part of walking around a big city, and if you're comfortable walking around a big city, you're gonna be fine doing this too. Like I mentioned, this is the station for the Elizabeth Line, and it's more modern and has elevators and escalators to get you up and down to the station. It looks like we made it, and when you get up to the top and are ready to exit the station, don't forget you're going to need to scan your card again. This train station is really crowded today. Just be ready for a little bit of hustle and bustle, you know, that kind of energy, and make sure you plan a lot of extra time. Just in case. There's no reason not to get there early. I'm just learning that the exit of the train station at Terminal 2, at least from the Elizabeth Line to the actual airport, it's a little bit of walking. Be ready for that. There are some moving walkways along parts of the stretch, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a walk. This is actually where the Piccadilly Line lets out, and the Piccadilly trains are a little bit older. There's a couple more stops on the way here. There are more stairs to get down to the trains and up from the trains. However, once you get to the airport, you're much closer than the Elizabeth Line, so just something to consider if you have the option. The Piccadilly Line is definitely much less of a walk to get up to Terminal 2. I can't tell you about the other terminals. I'm just telling you about what I experienced today. So both are going to get you here, and there are only minor advantages and disadvantages to each of them. And if you're going from the airport into the city, it's basically just the same thing in reverse. After you get your bags, you follow the sign to the London Underground, you decide if you want to take the Piccadilly Line or the Elizabeth Line, and then you scan your card at the turnstile and follow the signs to the trains. Once you're in the train, take a seat, it's 45 minutes at least, and each stop is not only announced in the train, but you can see the stop names from inside the train in each station. When you get to your stop, you get out of the train, follow the way out signs, take the mix of stairs, elevators, and/or escalators up to the top, scan your card again to get out, and welcome to London. As a reminder, I don't recommend taking a taxi because it's just so expensive and you will very likely get stuck in some kind of traffic along the way, which almost always makes the journey take longer than if you just take the train. And I don't prefer the Heathrow Express because even though it gets you close to the city much quicker than the tube, it's more expensive, and then you always end up riding the tube anyways, unless your hotel is right by Paddington Station. Please let me know if this video helped you or if you have any further questions, and don't be afraid to hit subscribe before you leave. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. See you soon.